to EC Electronics. So this video is an introduction video to ITC or Information Theory and Coding. In this video, we'll be discussing about all the basic things of information theory and coding. And we'll be discussing about all the terms that are used in ITC and also the modeling of a communication channel using the Shannon modeling. We'll be discussing about the various type of source and also the relation between information and probability. Okay, so all these things we are going to cover in this video. The notes of this video is given in the description. You can download it directly from there. And if you found the video useful, please do like, share and subscribe. Now let's see about the introduction of ITC or Information Theory and Coding. So this video is an introduction to Information Theory and Coding. It is a very important area of digital communication. Okay, so the information theory deals with the mathematical modeling of system. Generally, when we talk about communication systems, we have channels, symbols, messages and all. But in information theory and coding or in information theory topic, we deal with the mathematical modeling of communication systems. And the information present in a message is referred to the degree of uncertainty of a situation. Okay, now let's see this with the help of a small example. Consider that we are going to say a statement or a message that it will rain today. Okay, and consider that the day is very cloudy and all. So, when we are saying that it will rain today on a cloudy day, then the probability is actually 1. Since the day is cloudy and we are saying that it should rain or it will rain, means it has high probability or the probability equal to 1. And the information we are actually passing is 0 because it is clearly understood thing, right? So there is no uncertainty in that situation. There is no uncertainty that it can rain on a cloudy day. So there is no information. But if the day is really sunny and we are going to say that it will rain today, means the probability will be 0 and there is some information in that message or that statement. Okay, there the information equal to 1. So that's why we consider in information theory the information as a degree of uncertainty. There is no certainty that this thing will happen, but we are passing a statement or a message. Okay, so in that message there is some information. So if the message or the message or the statement we are saying is having a lot of certainty, means there is less information. But if we are saying a statement or a message with less certainty or it is completely uncertain thing, means there is a lot of information. Okay, so the larger the uncertainty, the more the information. The lesser the uncertainty, the lesser the information. So it is actually the measure of uncertainty of a situation. So I hope that this brief is clear to you. Now we are going to discuss about the most important terms that we use in the ITC or Information Theory and Coding subject. Okay, so the first term is entropy. So entropy is the term we have already heard in thermodynamics and all. So entropy is actually the degree of randomness. Okay, so the lack of organization or disorder, the degree of disorder is called entropy. Okay, so when we are passing a digital message, it will be having various codes and various symbols, right? So how much disordered the information is, the measure of that randomness or lack of organization is called entropy, and it is denoted using the letter H commonly. Okay, next one is redundancy. Redundancy is actually the opposite of information. So when we are saying that the message is redundant, means we are going to actually add a multiple replicas of the same data, right? So that is called redundant data. So it is actually the opposite of information. And if a message is redundant, means it actually adds very little information. The redundancy is more, means information content will be less. Okay, and actually this redundancy is coming in order to avoid noise. So for error correction and in order to avoid noise, we use redundancy and redundant bits. Okay, next one is noise. Noise is very familiar term. It is actually something which is unwanted to the communication system, right? So but since we are passing the message or the signals through the atmosphere, there will be noise. Now what is noise is actually an unwanted data. It is a factor that work against the predictability of outcome of a communication system. So every communication system has a predictability. So without the presence of noise, the system will work like this. But this prediction of ours may go wrong due to the presence of the noise, right? So that is noise. Then information is the most important thing in a communication system. Information is represented using I. This is actually the most important part. The message should consist of some information that we actually want to pass to the receiver, right? And it is represented using the letter I, and the units generally we use are 3 units: bits, nads and decit. So when we are representing the information to the base of log 2, it is bits. If you are using logarithm of natural logarithm, means it is nads, and if you are using log to the base of 10, it is decit. Okay, next we are going to discuss about the relation between information and probability. So when we are passing a message, the message consists of various symbols. So that is a way we organize digital communication messages. The message will consist of various symbols, and each symbol, consider that the message is M and the symbols are x1, x2, etc. up to xm, right? So these symbols, each of these symbols has various probability, right? So what is the relation between the information and the probability? Next we are going to see. So next we are going to cover some of the relations between information and probability. So consider that there is a symbol xi and the probability of its occurrence is p of xi. So a message M will be having n number of symbols, and we are taking one of the symbols from the message M and we are going to find the probability of it. That will be p of xi. Now what will be the information present in xi is actually proportional to 1 by probability of x of I. So the initial example which we have discussed, we can remember that thing while discussing, that if the probability is high, then the information content will be less. But if the probability is less, means it will be having lots of information, or the information content will be more. Okay, so here I of xi is the information will be proportional to 1 by p of xi. We can replace this proportionality with the help of log. We generally use log to the base 2. I of xi equal to log 1 by p of xi. Okay, now we'll discuss some of the properties of the information. If the probability equal to 1, I of xi equal to 0. The very same example you can think of for understanding this property. Okay. Also, if you are taking the product of the probabilities, then you can actually sum the informations. P of xi into P of xy is equal to I of xi plus I of xy. So if you are taking the products of the probability, means you have to sum the informations. So we are going to discuss about the mutual information. So when we are considering two symbols, consider that one symbol has already occurred. What is the probability of occurrence of the second one? And what is the information present in that occurrence? Okay, so that is analyzed in mutual information. That is, here we are going to take two symbols together and going to find out the mutual information in them. Okay, so I of xi by yi, where xi is one symbol, yi is another symbol. So I of xi by yi equal to minus log p of xi by yi by p of xi. And there is another relation, I of xi by yi equal to I of yi by xi. Since it is a mutual information, if you also take the reverse case, both informations will be same. And just consider that if you are putting p of xi by yi equal to p of xi, then in this equation, what will be I of xi by yi? It will be, this will be log 1. So there is a minus. So minus log 1 will be your information content. If p of xi by yi equal to pi, that is the probability of occurrence of yi upon xi is equal to the probability of xi itself, then the information will be minus log 1. And if p of, also consider that if p of xi by yi equal to 1, you have to substitute 1 here, then I of xi by yi equal to minus log 1 by p of xi. Okay. So I've made a slight change here than the previous image or the equation. Okay. So just correct it if you have already written the equations. So it is a minus log 1 by p of xi. We have just substituted this p of xi by yi as 1 here. So the information or the equation will be minus log 1 by p of xi. Okay, so these are some relations between information and probability. So just always keep this thing in mind that the probability is following an inverse relationship between with the information. If the information we have to find and the probability is given, if probability is high means information content will be less, and if probability is low means the information content will be high. So that is the relation. Now we are going to discuss about a small modeling of the information theory and coding system. That is the communication system we are going to model with the help of Shannon modeling, and we are going to discuss some facts about the communication system. Next, we are going to see a communication model given by Shannon. So this is actually the Shannon-Weaver communication model, and based on this model, a communication system, there is a digital communication system. Okay, so here we are sending symbols and symbols. So it is a digital communication system. There is an information source. We are sending the message which is having various symbols, and it is given to the transmitter. Then it is passed through the channel, and then while coming to the channel, it will be a signal. Then in the receiver side, it is going to receive the signal and it will be giving the message to the destination. Okay, so there is a source and the destination. In between, there is a transmitter, receiver, and a channel. Okay, now we can classify this source. Now, what is actually information source? An information source is actually the encoder who encodes the message into code in terms of the bits. So, a source will be actually generating a coded version. There is a coding called source coding in which we encode our actual information, right? So, a source will be encoding the information into a message, and then it will be sending to the transmitter. So the code language or set of symbols is used to have more easier communication and to reduce uncertainty. So this code which is being produced at the source will be also known to the destination. So it will be easier for the destination to decode. If we encode the symbol or the message, it will be easy for decoding also. Okay, so that is actually the source coding. So source is actually the entity which codes your information or your message, and then it produces a coded version and then gives to the transmitter. Okay, now you can categorize the information source as various classifications. The first one is discrete information source. So in discrete information source, it has only finite set of symbols as possible output. So if it can only produce finite set of symbols as its output, it is called discrete information source. So the set of symbols produced by this source is only discrete or finite values it can produce, and the combination of these symbols together will be called as alphabets, and in an alphabet there will be various symbols. Okay, so the symbol collection will be called an alphabet. It can only produce finite values of symbols or finite number of symbols or finite set of symbols. Okay, so that is the first category of information source. Second one is memory and memoryless source. So if the source is memory full or it is having memory, means the current symbol depends on the previous symbol. Okay, so that is the case. If it is not dependent on the previous symbol, means it is memoryless. Very simple, right? Just like the feedback and the without feedback case, if the current symbol is depending on the previous one, it is called memory full. If it is not depending, that is the current symbol is independent, means it is memoryless source. Now the third classification is discrete memoryless. So this classification is discrete also and it is also memoryless. So it is categorized by the list of symbols and the probability assignment of these symbols and the specification of rate of generation of the symbols. Okay, so this source is actually categorized by these things. First one is a list of symbols it is producing, then the probability assignment given to these symbols, and also the rate at which the symbols is generated. Okay, so just know that it will be producing only finite set of symbols and it doesn't depends on the previous symbol. Okay, so that is discrete memoryless source. Now, the information rate of the source, that is a source information rate, R is given by Rs into H, where Rs is the symbols per second and H is the entropy. So we have discussed about entropy in the beginning. So that is the degree of disorder of the message or the symbol. Okay, so degree of disorder is called entropy. Now, entropy, if you are saying in terms of symbols, it is actually the average information content present in a group of symbols. Okay, how much ordered it is, how much disordered it is. Its measure is called entropy. When it is coming to a message is having various number of symbols. How much ordered the symbols is, how much disordered the symbols is. Its measure is called entropy. Okay, so the information rate is actually the product of the symbol rate into its entropy. And its unit is bits per second. Okay, so these are some factors or features of a communication model given by Shannon. Okay, so these are some of the source classifications also. Now, this is about the communication system model. Now we are going to talk about coding, which is again a very important area of ITC or information theory and coding. In coding, we'll be mainly discussing about two type of coding are there. One is source coding and there is channel coding. So in this diagram, you can see a source here and a channel here. You can code both of this. You can code the source also, that is there can be source coding also and there can be channel coding also. Now we'll discuss about all these in the next upcoming videos, but just know that we are doing source coding in order to have a compression of the data which is being transmitted, or in order to compress the data we code. In digital electronics also we are studying encoders and decoders. In encoders, what we are doing, we are going to produce some in less number of outputs, right? That is, we are actually compressing. So the source coding is done for data compression. Okay, in order to have an efficient transmission or in order to compress the data or the large message, we use source coding. Now, what is the requirement of channel coding? We can also do that, right? Channel coding is done to avoid errors. So this channel is actually an erroneous path. That is, we are going to send the signal through a erroneous environment. That can be atmosphere or any environment it is. It is having a lot of errors. So when the signal is actually passing through the channel, it is having a lot of probability that it will get mixed up with this noises or errors. So in order to avoid the errors or in order to reduce the error probability, we are going for channel coding. Okay, so just know about these two things, that there is a source coding and a channel coding. Source coding we are doing to compress the data, channel coding we are doing to reduce the error. Okay, so these are the most important things you should be knowing as an introduction to information theory and coding subject. So in this video, we have discussed mainly about information. We have discussed about the type of or the modeling of a communication channel. We have discussed about the source types and all those things. We haven't discussed anything about the coding. So we'll be discussing in the upcoming videos the various coding schemes, source coding schemes and channel coding schemes we are going to see. Okay, so anyway, I really hope that you have got a very clear picture about the introduction of ITC, which we have done in this video. And if you found the video useful, please do give it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends. And if you want more videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and keep on watching.